Hello, here we go. We're talking about flare-ups today. So we talked about tantrums, we've talked about meltdowns, and now we're going to talk about flare-ups. So my name is Joshua from Ask the Child Whisperer, and this is what I do. I explain kid behavior so that it makes sense to grown-ups, so that you know what to do and how to help your kid instead of hitting your head against the wall or repeating things that are just frustrating all of you. So flare-ups may or may not start the way a tantrum or meltdown. Essentially, when I see a child have a flare-up, I know that it isn't what's happening in this moment. It's a memory of something that was hard in the past. And they have attached this experience, it could be new, to this really hard thing that happened in the past. And so, but they don't have the ability to tell you, oh God, this feels like when I fell in the mud pit. So you're just like caught completely off guard because it doesn't make sense. Like, why is my kid flipping out? Many of those instances for me, I've discovered are flare-ups. So the problem with flare-ups is you have to wait for this massive meltdown to occur. You have to wait for it to come down. And you are literally being an investigator. You're trying to connect the dots. Where were we? What was the expectation? Asking your kid, what surprised you? If you don't get anything when you're like, what surprised you? Wait, what happened? Generally, it may be a flare-up. So the only way to get to that info of a flare-up is I ask questions like, what is this like? What is this like? What did this make you remember? So when you ask that, we have a higher success rate of your child accessing that memory and being able to verbalize it to you. Now, mind you, the way they have stored it in their memory may not make sense to you. So what's an example of that? A kid might say, oh, it's like when I saw that purple lion. And you're like, what the heck? Like, you have no memory. You don't know if it's a cartoon. You don't know if it's a movie. Was it at a birthday party? Definitely wasn't at a zoo. Was it at a toy store? But instead of trying to figure out what it was, accept that, it is connected to something that happened in the past that was not a positive experience. So then I say, then that's my cue to, I'm coaching something from the past. So I'm like, oh, and what happened with the purple lion? Tell me again, what happened, or how did you do it? Did you like that? Did you not like that? So I'm trying to work off of, how was that memory? How did that wrap up? Even if I don't know the details. So if a kid is like, and I didn't like that, and that scared me, and I go, oh, so when I said, we're going to go in that plant store, you thought, oh, I'm not going to like that. I'm like, oh, I understand. I understand. Okay. How about we do only one part? We're just going to go to look at the daisies. There's so many, there's like 100 different things to look at in there. How about we make a plan? We're just going to look at the daisies. How can I help you feel braver? Because you're scared, but you don't have to stop being scared. We can be scared and brave. So if I hold your hand, does that help you be a little bit more brave? If I hug you, if I push you in the cart, how can I help you do the first part? So flare-ups are connected to something in the past that has left your child unsettled. Once they give you one clue, you can mentally file it. You can make a note on your phone. You can write it down in a journal, however it is. When your child is at ease much later on, generally it's when your kid is doing a really preferred activity like eating or drawing, whatever it is that they feel really at home, that's when I bring that dark memory back up. And I go, remember you told me about the purple lion? Was the purple lion on a TV or was it a toy? So I start to ask questions in order to get more details. And because your child is relaxed, doing something they really prefer, it means their confidence is probably extremely high. so they can talk about something scary because they're extremely brave in this moment. But it's really hard when it's flip-flopped. If confidence is really low and fear is extremely high, it's really scary to bring up a really scary or sad or overwhelming memory. But flare-ups are often connected to that, and kids will accidentally connect something that is very different. So say they remember that they were trying to eat their ice cream and it fell off the cone, and they were devastated by it. You don't really remember so much because you bought them another one. So to you, it's kind of an erased thing. But to them, it's like, well, I failed at something I really wanted to do. Now you're telling me we're going to go ice skating for the first time. So they may be really connected to this tiny little past failure that you thought you coached them through by giving them a new one. But in fact, you may not have coached them through the details of how not to have the ice cream fall down. And so they're remembering, well, this is really new. What I will crash and burn, because I was so excited about this, I will probably crash and burn about this as well. So that's why it's important when you sense, okay, this thing got really intense really fast and it must be connected to a past experience or memory. Your job is to help your kid manage the flare up in the moment, get past it, but then your homework is to try to tap into that past experience so you can coach your kid through it again. I hope this is helpful. I don't think people talk about flare-ups, at least I haven't yet read of a parenting coach talk about flare-ups, but I feel that it is really predominant in early childhood behavior. And I'm sure that now that we've talked about it, or you've listened to me yak about it, it may remind you of something you did as a kid, or maybe something you do now presently as an adult. So remember, there is no guilt or shame in helping a little person learn to digest and navigate life. And so, yes, you may have not handled it the best way or the opposite way, but again, you've never been a parent to this age kid under these circumstances in your current context. So there is no precise playbook that you could have found and followed. And so that's my job. And that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to help give people tailored strategies for the type of kid they have and kind of for the type of parent you are in this moment in time. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or you want me to create content about something else that you're struggling with, or that you'd like have it defined, or you're like, is this typical or not? Please feel free, send me that at info@askthechildwhisperer.com or DM me on Instagram. Have a great rest of the day. I hope you enjoy your littles.